Right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome in, and over to you, Chair Harrington.
Everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, June 25th, 2024, Washington County Board of Commissioners evening meeting. Clerk Moss, could you make the announcements, please?
Certainly, Chair Harrington. The Washington County Board of Commissioners, also meeting as the Board of Directors for Clean Water Services and all other county service districts, is now meeting this regular session, June 25th, 2024. Commissioner Rogers? Here. Commissioner Treese? Should be rejoining in any second now. So, Commissioner Willie? Here. Vice Chair Fye?
Present.
Chair Harrington?
Here.
Commissioner Treese?
Here.
All right.
Great. Thank you for joining us, Commissioner Treese. I know you're on the other side of the world on a business trip for Clean Water Services, so I didn't expect you to be awake this hour of the day. So thank you for joining us. So the next item on our agenda is public communication. This is an opportunity for members of our community to come and speak to the Board of Commissioners on any subject you would like for up to 2 minutes an individual. We do have a second public comment period later in the meeting, and then you have an opportunity for 5 minutes. Clerk Moss, do we have anyone who wishes to address us now?
We do, Chair Harrington. The first two I'll call up is Larry Crepeau, and apologize if I missed that, and Dale Feek.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you tonight. My name is Larry Crepeau. I'm the Executive Director with Washington County Kids, and I appreciate this opportunity. As a 501c3, Washington County Kids is here tonight on behalf of all kids in OST, which is out-of-school time programs, and our supporters for this large and diverse county. We've been working to increase access for all youth across the county for a long time. And upon joining the organization last year, I learned some key things directly from out-of-school time providers, administrators, and local officials, such as children's early learning years get the priority of attention and funding. But in fact, after school and summer times for school-age kids are massive development opportunities, especially coming out of the pandemic. The lack of information and data regarding OST programs is staggering. But other data is readily available, such as the Juvenile Department statistics on referrals. The number of referrals from high school, middle school, and now even grade schools is increasing. And when you look at the growing severity of the offenses, it's alarming. The ever-increasing costs and lack of available space for after-school and summer programs is causing shrinkage in services. And who knows that? Who is watching? The needs analysis bid that was submitted to the board by Echo Northwest proposes a similar methodology to the prior study that they conducted for early learning needs for the county. This completed study done for OST time would help countless organizations access OST needs, plan appropriately, and even enable additional funding opportunities across the county. With the recent passage of the landmark bill 4082, now is the time to put Washington County in a phenomenal position to document the need for future funds. I host monthly meetings called Focus on Providers, in which we listen and learn ways these providers and their organizations need our help. And as it happens, the next one is this Friday, June 28th from 10 to 11, and I cordially invite anyone to attend to hear directly from those teaching and enriching our youth under very challenging circumstances. And I just ask you to take a bold step forward in helping the county.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Feek.
Madam Chair Harrington and Commissioners and Pam Treese, hi. I want to apologize to you because I requested that my documents be handed out. And I think my documents were handed out first when you started talking. So I don't know who. Okay. You got them photocopied?
Yep.
We got both of them.
You got them You guys are quick. Wow. Well, I've just taken 25 seconds. I know. Well, are you ready? Are we ready to talk about equity? If you noticed in who I sent that to, I sent to the assistant administrator that's acting as the equity officer for the county. I got that from Kevin, who that is, because John Schrog has started the nonprofit program called Exploration News Oregon. And John Schrog is the former editor, publisher of the News Times, Hillsborough Tribune. He went to become the content editor for all the Pamplin papers, I know quite a few of them in Oregon. And he's taken on this as a task that needs to be done because there aren't enough newspaper reporters doing their job, because they don't, they're getting laid off, right? It's not because they're not competent to do it. They just don't have the money. They have to make a living. So John has taken this on, and he asked me to help him let elected officials know that he is doing this. He's funded for 4 years, and then he'll have to do funding. So he's working very hard to get news out for Oregon that Oregonians need to hear. So I would encourage you to get on the links that I gave to when I sent it to you. You can read more about it, and then I made a print. You got that in hard copy, but it does not have links. So if you want to read his links, you need to read what I sent to you by email. Good to see you, Pam Treese. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Well, it's always good to see you, Jerry Willie, especially since you are my county commissioner, District 4, right?
Thank you, Mr. Feek. Next, we have Kimberly Culbertson and Juan Villalobos.
Good evening, Chair Carrington and County Commissioners. I wish to encourage you to do a needs analysis for out-of-school time activities for school-aged children. I come to this from a position of having been one of those children who had no out-of-school time activities. My parents both worked hard, full-time jobs, to make enough money just to get a house. And that meant that us kids were alone most of the summer, and we were alone after school every day, pretty much. That put a burden on us because I learned to cook when I was 9. And the dangers of living out in the countryside aren't always explained. And frankly, most people assumed that we had people watching us all the time, but that's just not the case. And it's a heartfelt thing. And I ended up babysitting my 2 twin sisters, and they still don't like me. But I don't think that small children should have to take up that burden. I think that we're sufficiently sophisticated in our state these days that we don't have to force children to take care of their siblings and cook for their families, and face the dangers of doing all of that at a young age, because most moms and dads are working today. It wasn't the case when I was a kid, but it is the case now, and I think it's ever present. It's really important for children to be able to thrive and do well in school. And out-of-school time activities can help. Thank you.
Hola, buenas tardes. Gracias por darme la oportunidad de expresar mi testimonio.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to express my testimony.
Mi nombre es Juan Pablo Villalobos García.
My name is Juan Pablo Villalobos García.
Soy un representante de la comunidad Latinx, un hombre en recuperación y con historial criminal.
So I am a representative of the Latinx community, a person in recovery, and I have a criminal history.
La razón por la cual hoy estoy aquí es para abogar por más servicios culturalmente específicos para mi comunidad.
The reason why I'm here is because I want to advocate for more services that are culturally specific to my community.
Soy el director de una nueva organización sin fines de lucro llamada Latinx Recovery Center, Inc.
I am the director of a new organization that is nonprofit, and the name is Latinx Recovery, Inc.
Y hemos notado la dificultad por proveer nuestros servicios por diferentes barreras
We have noticed difficulties in providing our services for a variety of barriers that we face.
por no pertenecer al Metro 110 o por no pertenecer al Burn de Washington County.
Because we don't belong to Metro 110 and we don't belong to the
Burn, the Washington County Burn.
Washington County Bar.
Estamos perdiendo vidas de latinos
We're losing Latinos' lives
por barreras burocráticas
because we're facing bureaucratic obstacles.
y creo que es un buen momento para evaluar los servicios culturalmente específicos de nuestro condado.
I think this is the time to evaluate the services that are culturally specific to our community.
Washington County y Oregon me dieron una segunda oportunidad
Washington County and Oregon gave me a second opportunity, second chance.
y es lo que pido para mi comunidad.
And that is what I'm asking for my community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Hodai Jonah, if I pronounce that right, and Maria Torres.
Estimados miembros de la reunión de comisionados,
Respected members of the Board of Commissioners,
buenas tardes.
good afternoon.
Mi nombre es María.
For one moment, could you move your mic over?
Oh,
Thank you. That's great. Sorry to interrupt.
mi nombre es María Torres y soy residente del condado de Washington, en la ciudad de Beaverton específicamente.
My name is Maria Torres. I'm a resident of Washington County, specifically in Beaverton.
Y quiero agradecer los servicios y recursos que han proveído para nuestras comunidades,
I'd like to thank you for the services and resources you've provided for our communities,
como salud mental después de salir de una pandemia que ha apoyado a muchos miembros de mi comunidad.
like the mental health services provided coming out of the pandemic, which have helped a lot of members of my community.
Y también agradecer la oportunidad de hablar y compartir mis pensamientos sobre vivienda justa para todos.
And I'd like to thank you also for being able to share my opinions and my thoughts about just housing for all.
Que durante 30 años he visto crecer a este maravilloso condado y estado con una migración que ha apoyado a su desarrollo día a día.
I've seen for 30 years how this wonderful county has grown with immigration and how it has grown year by year.
Y a la vez he sido testigo de primera mano de que no se ha tomado en cuenta a los migrantes que trabajan y colaboran pagando sus impuestos.
And I've also been a first-hand witness to the fact that sometimes the immigrant lives are not considered. They work hard, they pay their taxes,
Pero nunca son tomados en cuenta al pensar en una vivienda justa por no tener un seguro válido.
but they are not taken into consideration when it comes to just housing because they don't have a valid Social Security number.
Les insto a crear una fuente que sea inclusiva para estos grupos de inmigrantes que apoyan en el crecimiento de nuestro estado y que lo enriquecen cada día más.
I would encourage you to set up a fund that would include these members, these immigrant members who do enrich our state and provide a lot back towards it.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dear Board of Commissioners, my name is Hadiatu L. Johnson, and I'm a resident of Washington County, Oregon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I'm here representing child care providers in Washington County. As a resident of Washington County, I have witnessed firsthand the impact of non-accessible and non-inclusive childcare programs on our community. I am a childcare provider, infant and toddler teacher who works in Washington County, and I am a graduate with a master's in education, elementary education, and my passion has always been children, coming from a background of teachers as my parents. Childcare programs are sometimes non-inclusive and have lots of barriers for parents to enroll their children. The idea of a parent being placed on a wait list to enroll their child puts a strain on them and makes things hard for them, even in their quest for jobs or better livelihood. With the support of the Board of Commissioners, I am hopeful that we can work together to find a solution for the betterment of our most valuable resource, our residents. By coming together, we can make childcare programs accessible and inclusive for all, regardless of the race, background, and economic status. Again, I believe that by working together, we can create a better future for all residents of Washington County. Thank you for your attention to my comments and for advocating accessible and inclusive childcare programs in our county. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Was there any other member that wanted to comment for up to 2 minutes before I go to online? And we have our second comment, which I have a list here. So, okay. So, Madam Chair, we had one online, and that is Nars Rodriguez. Nars, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you speak a little louder? We're having a little trouble on our end.
Is this loud enough?
Yeah, that is good. Go ahead for up to 2 minutes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Buenas tardes and good evening to all of you. Dear Chair Harrington and Commissioners, my name is Narce Rodriguez, former elected official for the Forest Grove School Board and retired higher education employee. My testimony today is to please bring to your attention the need for your leadership to please pay close attention to the letter submitted to all of you by Washington County kids. This is a very passion of mine, children, as many people have already mentioned today. It's kind of a nice synchronization of care for our kiddos. I also serve on the Washington County kids as well. This letter that was submitted to you is regarding the urgent need for your commitment to approve the request of a need analysis of our out-of-school time care for our Washington County school-age children and youth. As you all know, our children are our future, and they deserve we invest in data analysis. With your commitment, we would be able to get a closer look at clear data points to demonstrate to our county that each of you are investing in our children and in their future and in their family. Muchas gracias. Thank you for all the work that you do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, Madam Chair, we had one more in the room, Barry Johnson-Smith. Barry, and then we will continue on.
Union County Commissioners, hope you're doing well today. My name is Barry Johnson-Smith, and I'm part of the Advisory Council of Racial Equity. Got it, yes. All right, and I'm here to provide support for today's vote on the appointment of our candidates for today, which are Ana Diana Johnson, May Mohammed, and the appointment of Don Kuma, Josefina Afume Pitorf, and Peter Hanley. I had the opportunity to interview May and Ana Diana. I really enjoy hearing their perspective, and I think they can provide a great benefit to our council. Ariana Johnson is an advocate for people with disabilities, and I saw her desire to grow and supporting other communities. I saw that confirmation as she's also part of the Unite Oregon Leadership Program. So I saw that Ana Diana has a commitment to grow in her advocacy work. And May Mohammed is a Muslim woman of color in the medical field, which could provide a great perspective on racial inequities for people in color in that space. And then I had a great opportunity for the past couple of years to work with Peter, Dawn, and Josefina, and I would wish to continue working with them again for the next couple of years. So I come here again to urge for your support in supporting our appointments for group of candidates for ACRE, and I am excited to keep working with you all in addressing racial inequities in Washington County. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Chair, that concludes this part of public comment.
Excellent, thank you. We'll move on to adoption of our consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda consists of 10 different items. 4 items from Clean Water Services, 1 item from Facilities, Fleet, and Parks, 1 item from the Sheriff's Office, and 4 items from Land Use and Transportation. What are the wishes of the Commission regarding tonight's consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent.
Second.
All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, Commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Next, we'll move on to boards and commissions. Tonight, we have a request to appoint Anadiana Johnson and May Mohammed, and to reappoint Don Kuma, Peter Hanley, and Susafina Afumi Petrov to serve on the Advisory Council on Racial Equity. The Board of Commissioners reviewed these applications at a recent work session. What are the wishes of the Commission regarding these appointments?
Move to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to appoint the listed persons for a term expiring June 30th of 2024. All those, for another 3-year term. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, Commissioner. Your screen froze, but we got you. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you. Next, we're moving on to the action portion of our agenda, and tonight we're considering the adoption of the solid waste and recycling collection rates for the upcoming year. So I'll turn it over to staff for a brief presentation.
Thank you so much. Well, good evening, Chair Harrington, Board of County Commissioners. My name is Mira Samantala, I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Director of Health and Human Services, and I'm pleased to introduce tonight Erin Stein. She is our Interim Manager for Solid Waste and Recycling. You did see a similar presentation to what you'll see tonight when we came to work session on, I believe it was June 11th. We're here to follow up with another short presentation for the benefit of the community, as well as following up on just a few of the questions that you asked at work session, and then of course the action item for consideration. With that, I will turn it over to Erin Stein.
Thank you, Mira. Thank you, Chair Harrington, members of the board, for having me this evening. I'm Erin Stein. I'm the Interim Manager for the Solid Waste and Recycling Division, and I'm here to go over our 2023 annual financial rate review. Just a brief overview of the topics we'll be discussing this evening. I'll do some highlights of your board's authority on rate setting here in unincorporated Washington County, touch on our annual rate review process and the rate review findings from the 2024 rate review. We will look at some residential rate comparisons here in the metro region. Rate equity and transparency are important components of each rate review cycle, so we will go over some high-level projects that we worked on this year. We will wrap up with some stakeholder engagement activities, and then finally ask for a recommendation from your board. So County Code 804330 provides that increases or decreases in rates by the board are at the board's discretion. Your board has broad discretion in rate setting so long as rates provide for prudently incurred operating expenses and capital cost. The process is to ensure fair and reasonable rates. The role of the county is to balance the interest of our collection companies and their ability to earn a reasonable return on revenue, along with ratepayers' interest in being protected from unreasonable charges. As one of staff's rate transparency initiatives, the annual rate review process and procedures were documented in 2021. The procedures utilized by the county are in alignment with regional standards for establishing collection rates within a franchise framework. As this process is not codified or documented in the solid waste and recycling administrative rules, this allows your board flexibility to take action. Actions could include responses to adverse economic conditions, programmatic changes, or unforeseen circumstances that are impacting our collection system. Since 2014, staff have presented to your board financial information which is required to hit a 10% return on revenue. Prior to that, the ROR was below 10%. Our rate review process is very complex. It is about a 5-month process. It starts every winter when staff take into consideration new programmatic offerings for our community or operational changes that we need to consider. Each spring, detailed cost reports are sent to our 8 collection companies, and those collection companies return detailed programmatic and financial information to the county. Staff and a certified CPA firm review all of those details, and we're moving on to step 4. Sorry, I forgot to cover my stages. So all of those details are consolidated, and we look at the aggregate system as a whole, so all 8 collection companies' data. We make adjustments and consolidations, and we determine what the system return on revenue is. That process typically wraps up in April. If adjustments are needed to return a certain line of business, we have 3: residential, commercial, and Dropbox, to a 10% ROR. Those recommendations and the financials that correlate to that are determined, and then we take those to the Garbage and Recycling Committee, typically in mid-May, for a review. And then that brings us on to step 8, which is coming to the board for action. Depending on the results of this evening's outcome, staff makes sure customers can receive notice 30 days in advance of any rate adjustments to their service offerings, and then ideally any rate changes take effect on August 1st. So just an overview of the 2023 financial data. Overall, the revenue in the system came in at $42,944,749. The income was $2,257,282. The system's total return on revenue came in at 5.26%. When we look at each individual line of service, residential had a return on revenue of 5.65%, commercial 1.69%, and Dropbox 8.13%. And just as a reminder, how we reach our return on revenue, we take total system revenue minus any allowable expenses to determine the profit for the system. Then that profit is divided by the revenue to equal the return. Digging a little deeper into our findings, we did find that unfortunately our expenses outpaced our revenue growth. Our revenue for 2023 increased at 4% year over year, or a total of $1.6 million. But unfortunately, the operating cost increased at a higher percentage at 6%, totaling $2.1 million. Each line of service had variable costs, but overall, when we looked at the aggregate, disposal cost, recycling processing charges, driver wages, maintenance, equipment purchases, all of those overall costs increased dramatically, where we saw more of our indirect cost of operations, such as administrative or corporate overhead, remain fairly static year over year. So the final phase of the rate review process is coming up with the adjustments that staff would recommend to your board. Overall, when we're looking at each line of service, staff are recommending a residential rate increase of 4.8%, a commercial rate increase of 9.2%, and a Dropbox compactor rate increase of 2.1%. So what does that mean to the average customer? A urban urban unincorporated customer would be looking at a $1.33 increase for a 32-gallon can cart service. Our commercial customers, if they have a 4-yard container being serviced once a week, they would see an increase of $25 per month. And those that have compactor service, each 10-yard box, every time that box is pulled, they would see an impact of $3.79 per haul. Out of the work session, and I'm sorry, this is kind of small. We have a lot of data on here. The board was requesting information for regional rate information, and we do assess this annually. I think it's worth noting that Washington County's urban and rural unincorporated rates as presented in this table also include the $2 recycling surcharge, which applies to all of our rates. When we look across the board, overall collection rates are fairly consistent within the metro region, especially when we're considering that each jurisdiction may have varying levels of service, frequency of service, and also variable gross receipt rates paid to the respectable jurisdictions. I think it's important to note that most jurisdictions in the Tri-County area all employ a similar rate setting process as we do here at the county. And we actually share many operational resources, so there's a lot of benefits built into that process being consistent throughout the metro region. I think the highlight of my position is leaning into our rate equity and our rate transparency considerations. Your board approved a reduced rate program, which went into effect in January of 2023. We had some success criteria for this reduced rate program. We wanted a self-funded program that would provide long-term and ongoing support. We're supporting individuals for a full 24 months once approved. It needed to be easy to apply for, but not impact customers' levels of service, and most importantly, provide meaningful access. In year one, we were able to assist 667 households, and we have been seeing steady program growth month over month. The customers that are on this program receive a 75% reduction off of their monthly bill. And I think a highlight of rate equity is our the fact that partnerships in the community are really important, and Community Action is not only our program administrator, but they have funneled over 45% of our approvals have come through a direct connection with Community Action. Rate transparency is also extremely important. Staff have been taking steps over the last few years to adopt rates for all services that are reasonable, responsive, and regionally consistent, and most importantly, well understood. And what I'm proposing this evening is a new rate structure for collecting bulky waste items. This would be a two-step fee. You would pay a flat pickup fee depending if you're a rural or an urban customer, and then a cost per item based on the size and weight. I think what's really important to underscore here is whether you're urban, rural, a residential, or commercial customer, this would be accessible across all of our lines of service. Just an example for what this might mean for the community is if I'm an urban, unincorporated customer, I would pay $39 to dispose of an extra large item, such as a king mattress and box spring, and then I would pay $16 pickup fee. If I had additional items, I would pay the flat pickup fee, but just any additional fees associated based on the size or weight of those items. Very clear set of menus that we've developed. Lastly, on to our stakeholder engagement. Our Garbage and Recycling Advisory Committee was engaged on May 16th, and they had favorably recommended your board approve the proposed collection rate adjustments and the addition of the bulky item collection rates. We do maintain several interested party lists, and we did receive no public comment regarding garbage and recycling collection rates. And lastly, our partnership with the Washington County Haulers Association Our collection companies are supportive of the proposed rate adjustments, and I just want to underscore how helpful they were in assisting with the development of the bulky item collection rates. Staff's recommendation to the board are the following adjustments: a 4.8 rate increase for residential services, a 9.2 rate increase for commercial services, a 2.1% rate increase for drop box and compactor services, and additionally, staff is recommending the implementation of a new bulky item collection rate menu, which would go into effect on August 1st as well. And with that, I would open it up to any questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stein, for the presentation here tonight. As you've said, these rate levels and new programs would apply to the urban unincorporated and unincorporated rural areas, so very clearly not in the cities. You also, in the work session, helped us understand the drivers behind the need for the bulky item collection, because there was confusion in our community. So I really appreciate how staff put options together, engaged with the Garbage and Recycling Advisory Committee to bring us some recommendations. We had a good discussion in our board work session, and you've done a great job in bringing this forward to us tonight. Beyond that, commissioners, do you have any questions? So we have a resolution in order before us that includes the multiple collection rates that have been summarized, as well as the new bulky item collection rates as well. What are the wishes of the commission regarding this resolution in order?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, commissioners. We have a motion and a second to approve these rates as proposed. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimous 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board.
Before we move on to the second public comment period for this evening, after we adjourn the meeting, I would like to invite all members who've been participating in the Unite Oregon Civic Leaders Program to please come and join the board and our leadership for a photo opportunity, if you'd like, as a group. Because we appreciate that you've been spending your time and energy to learn more about county government and civic engagement. We really appreciate it. So Clerk Moss, can you help us understand who would like to come before us for up to 5 minutes an individual?
Certainly, Chair Harrington. We have two that signed up. The first one is Caleb Bourgeau and Juan Cineros.
Thank you, Jorge.
Hi, Board of Commissioners. My name is Caleb Bourgeois. I'm a resident of Aloha and a member of Unite Oregon. Thanks for the opportunity to speak and share my thoughts on the disproportionate vulnerability of those who live in urban unincorporated areas of Washington County. As a resident of Aloha, I have witnessed firsthand the impact of the lack of municipal representation. Property owners in the community enjoy a lower property tax rate, but this comes at a cost. It is not the county's role to provide municipal level services, nor do they have the resources to do so. This means Aloha's core, Alexander Street, like much of the area, still lacks sidewalks, appropriate street lighting, and other essential infrastructure to support the community's health. This is directly evidenced by the elevated rate of fatal traffic incidents that continue to plague our community. In my role as Vice Chair of CPO 6, our community members have also voiced their helplessness in response to regulations such as middle housing, which allows increases in density without proportionate on-site parking, increasing congestion and unsafe traffic conditions throughout the unincorporated urban area. Without municipal representation or tax revenue, our residents will continue to pay the consequences with their health or even their lives. I encourage the Washington County Board of Commissioners to support urban unincorporated areas of Washington County in cultivating municipal representation, whether from annexation or incorporation, to mitigate the negative health outcomes currently experienced by its residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jorge Cisneros, resident of here, Washington County, Hillsborough, working as a community health worker in my community. I've been seeing, and I hearing here problems with youth, after school programs, the problem of childhood, which is not genetic, was invented, John Locke, Rousseau. And on top of that, the post-pandemic symptoms, our Hispanic community, one of the fastest growing here in the community. Academics, I don't want to mention it, we're still suffering. Putting all together, elections are coming, political wedges, dividing communities. And as a community health worker, I see more need for mental health around the area, not just with my community, with different communities, you name it, diversity, which is what we brought us here. We don't have enough resource out there. When I visit these people and see the medication they're taking, they're just taking medications. Well, and the more I talk to them, especially the golden age that I'm going there pretty soon, a couple more years, senior center in Hillsborough, aquatic therapy. So I know my people, my community, been here for 45 years. But the more I talk to them, I see on their eyes something that they're lacking of. Somebody to talk to. The media, the amount of information they get. So I see the older community suffer more for somebody they can approach. They come to me for help, but like, well, you did your time, you pay your fair share. Isn't the county doing something to help you? So my job now that I'm becoming part of the disabled community as well, and I'm going to the gold community, and not too long, my job is just to find out what resources you guys have to help that gap, especially the older community. There are more suffering on that aspect. That is what I see, and there's a lot of factors that comes to that. One question, have you seen the movie One Flew Over the Coconut Nets, 1975? That's a good one. That's a good one. And that's when I ended up right there. So, yeah, we just need more places so people can go and express. I go to the senior center, but it's nice, it's there, good lunch. But still, we just need to do more. We just have to, I just went to the hot dog barbecue here at Shoe Park. And that's when I noticed that a lot of people are just not happy, and they did their time. And I would like to see what can we do as a community to help that age. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you finally, face to face.
All right, would any other members in the auditorium wish to provide public comment for up to 5 minutes on any county-related topic? I'll give you just a moment to raise your hand, start coming forward. Not seeing any in the room, would any members online via Zoom wish to provide public comment for up to 5 minutes on any county-related topic? Give you just a moment to utilize raise hand function. Not seeing any hands, Chair Harrington.
Thank you, Clerk Moss, and thank you to everyone who came and testified this evening and sharing your thoughts. Next on the agenda is board announcements, and this is where I announce our upcoming meetings. Next Tuesday, we are not having any board meeting, so no work session, no business meeting, and we encourage everyone to enjoy the July 4th Independence Day here in our community. On Tuesday, July 9th, we'll be having a work session that starts at 9, then a board meeting at 10, and then we'll reconvene the work session after that. On Tuesday, July 16th, we'll be having our afternoon work session starting at 1 in the afternoon and a board meeting in the evening, just like this evening. The following week, July 23rd, we're not going to be having board meetings, nor will we be meeting the 5th Tuesday of July, Tuesday, July 30th. That's it for board announcements that I have. How about for the rest of the board? Anything? All right. Well, with that, once again, I would like to invite our civic leader participants to join the board for a picture opportunity if you would like to do so. And now I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 5-0. We are hereby adjourned.